Stay tuned for more. We're going to be here all week. I've been having so much fun running around all day making videos.
But you know who else has been having a lot of fun? Our buddy. I'm joined with Ryan Conwell, LaxAllStars analyst.
That's me.
And I mean, we gotta recap some of what's happened tonight. We'll start with USA and Canada. You were there at the end of the game.
Right.
You missed the fourth quarter, or you made the fourth quarter. We'll talk about why you missed the first part.
It was a good reason.
Later.
It was a good reason. Trust
really
me.
Good reason. But from what you saw, quickly, right off the top of your head, what did you think about that face-off call? And the stick check.
I've seen it done before. I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of coaches do tend to hold a call like that until it really matters. And I mean, it's something to have in your pocket. Yeah, you keep it in your pocket. You don't use it right away when, I mean, how far were they down early on in that game? 4 or 5 goals, I think it was.
6-2, and then they had 2 goals in the second to right before halftime to make it 6-4, which kept Canada in the game.
So a call like that early on in the game, yes, you could do it. You could get yourself a man up, but it's not going to do that much for you. Whereas in the final minute, you give yourself...
The emotions aren't high at that point if you use it in the middle of the game, second quarter or third, right?
Right, but you hold that until the final minute, and you're down by 1, and you can run your entire man-up offense for multiple shots. I think they had, 5-6 shots in that single possession right there.
Yep.
I mean, that's why you hold on to that. And
I think it was Coach Mearns that made the call. I mean, literally the goal was scored by Paul Rabel.
Yep.
They went up by 1 goal, and then right away he's running over to the ref like, stick check, stick check, stick check. And I mean, you could see, and it's happened before. Like, is this something? And I immediately thought that, and it's happened before in an MLL game. Like, is
I mean, it's the same thing you run into, and I think the Canadian box background, the other similar rule is not so much the stick check, but when they call for the goalie pads to be checked, you know, that's another one of those things of, it kind of crosses a line, but at the same time, every coach I've ever talked to about having their own athlete stick checked and it becoming illegal, especially if it turns into like one of those 3-minute, locked in type of penalties, they aren't yelling at the player on the other team that was telling their coach. They're not that mad at the other coach. Yeah, they're annoyed by it, but they're also kind of upset at their player for putting them in that situation. I mean, all of us that are players, we know it's our responsibility to know it.
Guys on that team have seen him Greg Rillian get a stick check before and it be called on him and go the other way. The one thing that stood out to me in that moment was Jeff Snyder, when he came to the bench, saying, "We're going to check every single one. We're going to go through every single stick."
Because face-off guys don't bring one stick to a game either.
We're going to go through every single stick. Just kind of a recap of the whole game. I mean, and you've seen these two teams play before. It was intense.
And intensity is the best word to describe it, and that's what you expect out of this matchup every single time. I love the fact that it did become a 1-goal game. I think everyone that was watching was hoping for that, unless, all right, if you're a diehard USA fan, yes, you want them to just blow away Canada and just go for it. But, I mean, if you're just a fan of lacrosse and you enjoy watching good games, seeing that go all the way down to the last minute where it's a 1-goal game, both teams are taking their shots. They're trying to put their best lineups out there. I loved one of the things that Canada did out of a timeout, which is they went to a wide open clear. Yeah. And the U.S. defense was, standing back there. They kind of knew what to do with it, but at the same time, you had Tyson Bell practically at GLE.
I didn't watch the game enough to talk about this, and you're talking about their clear. Like,
hey, when you watch a quarter, you got to know that quarter. But I mean, they do something like that, and you're trying to throw not the entire book at them because you're pretty certain you're going to play them again. but you have to win the game, and they have so many things in their possible game plan at their disposal. It shows how much preparation these teams really do put into it. As much as everyone says it's an informal tournament, it's not as serious as the pro leagues, and I do get that part of it, because some parts of this event can feel like a summer tournament when you're on a grass field, sun shining on you, people are having fun. It's an awesome feeling. It's not like an MLL game. But when you're on one of those sidelines, it's serious.
Well, exactly. I mean, and both teams are playing for something. You have Canada that's playing for the great Dave Hundley, and you have the USA that is trying to look for redemption, right?
Oh, so definitely.
I was standing here as the game ended, and Nisharov was walking by, and we kind of exchanged words, and he was like, it's like he had like a minor heart attack. Like there's like the anticipation for the next game and the stick check, and now there's going to be this whole conversation going forward about the game ending that way. It just makes for a great game, that we hope we're going to see, at the end of the week. Let's go back to why you missed.
Why I missed
the first part of the game. I was a little disappointed that you weren't here.
I was too.
That you were in the square, Netanya, where we're staying. The square is where there's a lot of teams there. France,
right,
was there, and they were watching the World Cup.
Right. So that was something that developed, within today. I was talking to the manager of the French team, and we were trying to line up some interviews, going to history, which that is something that you will see on LaxAllStars. But one of the things that he mentioned was, hey, after this game, I think they were playing at 2:00, somewhere around there, and they said after this game, the entire team is jumping on a bus. We're going straight to, and he told me the restaurant. He said, you can come on the bus if you want to, but watch the game with us.
They had the date circled.
Yep. They knew they were going to get out of their game and to the restaurant in time to flip on the World Cup, watch it as a team, and it was a perfect setting for it, because it's your typical village square, nice wide open area. They had 30-foot jumbotrons in the public areas with just thousands of people out in front of it. Yeah. We were in a restaurant off to the side that was just more or less a tent. I mean, you had some TVs around there. All the seats were turned towards the TV, even though there were tables. And we were able to sit there and watch it with the team, talk to a couple of the players, talk to their captain, talk to their longest tenured player about what this means for them. And it was just amazing, because as they scored their second goal to go up and it started really shifting in their direction,
cranking on. I was 4-2.
The team went crazy. They actually wound up sprinting into Netanya Square, up on the stage in front of the Jumbotron, dancing around, singing songs. Like it was an incredible experience. And
I was going for Croatia. I will admit, I have a friend that's Serbian Croatian, and so I was rooting for them on that. Quickly,
yep.
Do you think one day the France national soccer team will be rushing to a bar to see the France national lacrosse team?
I hope so. I mean, let's say let's just say it's going to be this year. Get them into a medal game. Yep. They come off the World Cup, and then all of a sudden, all the French TVs say, "Hey, we got something else going on," and let's hope it's going to be this year.
I know.
How about that?
I know. 4 years. We'll go 4 years.
All right. Take away some of my thunder, but
we'll go 4 years. Always appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Toda. Coming up next, we got an awesome video of Jerusalem and the interns here working the whole grounds here at Wingate, and an awesome experience they had down south. Coming up next.
Jerusalem was awesome. It was really actually an impactful experience. Even though I am not Jewish, kind of hit you in the heart. It was really cool. The Jewish parts of it. We got to see the Church of Ascension. We got to see the Western Wall, and kind of go to the market and see that experience. And it was just a really cool experience overall. Church of Ascension. So you start off by going up to the top, and you see where Jesus was crucified. And then you go down, and there's kind of a mural showing like the steps of like getting crucified, then being brought down to be prepared to be buried, and then you see his tomb where he was buried. And so just kind of going through all those steps and just kind of seeing all that was awesome. I'm not Jewish, but we're traveling here with a lot of people that are Jewish, and just to see like how they reacted to it was just really cool, and seeing the IDF soldiers walking around was just awesome to see, and knowing the history behind the Western Wall was also really helpful to make the trip even more impactful. Just all the buildings were just very historic, and you could tell, but it was just still so amazing to see. And we were actually up on one of the mountains, and we got to see just a complete overview of Jerusalem, and it was just absolutely beautiful. The Holocaust Memorial, our group actually had a very short visit there because it was around closing time, but we got to go see the Children's Memorial and just walk through there real fast, and just hearing some of the ages of the kids that had to go through that was just absolutely devastating, and it really, even if you're not Jewish, it just really hits you in the heart. I really want to come back next year and play in the IPLL, and also go back to Jerusalem, and there's so much more of Israel that I want to see.
All right, that was pretty cool. We just saw that video of the interns going to Jerusalem. I'm here with Casey Cittadino.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, and Ryan Hunter. Ryan Hunter playing for Team Israel. Casey coaching for Team Israel. Used to play for Team Israel.
I did.
Let's talk about the games being in Israel, and kind of reflecting off of that Jerusalem video and the interns going out there. Ryan, you've been here for a while.
Yeah.
You've had some experience here.
Yeah, I've had some experience here in Netanya where the games are, and in Jerusalem for all the programs we've had, from high school kids to even younger U13 coming over to college, to take them to Jerusalem, show them the lacrosse we have. So been through it all and helped been a part of the whole planning. It's unbelievable.
And Casey, you guys have been a part of this for a while. Like I mentioned, a player, now you're a coach. I mean, is that like full circle for you? Like how does that feel?
It's interesting, right? Because player, coach, and I've also coached the U13 Israel team in the World Series the past couple of years.
Yep.
And all of those kids.
Saw you out in Denver.
I have like 17 of them here now, intermingling and playing with all the Israel IPLL teams.
Right.
And like meeting all the kids, boots on the ground. And so like to see them here is almost more surreal than anything, because now it's like the worlds are really colliding.
It's just from following you guys and following Israel lacrosse over the last few years. I mean, I watched you closely in the 14 games because I love you. But how has it blown up so fast? Like, where has that come from? I mean, obviously you're talking about the boots on the ground, and you guys have really made an effort to grow this thing, but where has all that really come from?
I got to give credit to guys like Ryan and the guys that have made the commitment to literally uproot their life in the States, move here, be a part of it, boots on the ground, grow the game, pull kids out of schools, teach them how to play lacrosse, and then we've all become dual citizens.
Yeah.
And so that little piece is so significant in getting more people involved.
He's giving you all the credit here.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I'll let Ryan explain more because he's a guy here. But I think 2014 was the start of hey, we have some guys that are doing some cool things, and now it's the exposure's there, and it's now we have to build on it. Now we continue to grow and get more and more guys exposed and doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, just going off what he said, it's really cool. We've got a lot of guys over here. This is the most we've ever had, in the 5-6 years that Israel lacrosse has been around. But, going into schools and teaching them how to play, for the first time we're rolling a ball out, kids are picking it up with their hands. Right. Now these kids that, I remember I've got a kid who literally picked the ball up with his hand, 6 months later he's, coming around trying both hands, and playing in the league. And it's unbelievable. You see that it's different than coaching back in the States. It's something that, wow, okay, I'm ready to go back in the next school to find the next kid who does not know how to scoop up a ground ball.
I was walking around the field here during the USA-Canada game, and I stopped to just pound up one of the ball boys. I'm always talking to him and messing with him, and I'm like, how sick is this lacrosse right now? And he was like, man, I came over here because my buddy said I should come. I'm Jewish, I'm from the States, but I came, I had to see this. It's everywhere.
It's really amazing, and I've seen it with little bits and pieces. I just had in the World Series a couple weeks ago, 2 guys come play the Little League World Series, and their eyes were oh my God, these kids are amazing. Right. And now to have national team players, USA, Canada like this, the experience that Israel has in general to watch this lacrosse at a high level, it's I mean, man, you can't you can't do anything better for the game and the state here exposure-wise. I mean, you just can't.
Walking into Netanya Stadium, was that surreal for you?
It was awesome. I think it really hit because we've known about this for a year. I've been in and out of the stadium, actually created the selection show video, and just being able to like actually walk in and be like, it's here.
Right.
You know, we drove by, I drive by it every day to see it, and like it's here, and to have all these Israeli kids and mixed in with the American kids for 80 minutes just screaming, it was like, I knew this was here for a year, but that's not what I didn't know what to expect really, and that was.
Yeah.
I got to
way
give a
better.
shout out to that stadium, to the stadium and the setting.
It was beautiful.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I got to give a lot of respect to Jamaica. They came out and like our game was like, you know, it was a phenomenal game. Look, the USA Iroquois game, that first half was unbelievable lacrosse to watch.
Right.
And if you didn't get a chance to watch it at home, you got to find a way to watch it, right?
It's ESPN Plus, LaxAllStars, ESPN.
100%.
The coverage is out there.
It's the top level lacrosse you're gonna watch really anywhere.
And we're doing live shows all week, right? So you guys will be here. You guys
Yep.
will come back. But USA Canada just happened. I mean, that is the level of intensity during that game is.
Well, I got a question for you.
Yeah. Okay.
And he said, I'm gonna flip the script here,
Oh, God.
because you've played with so many guys
Yeah.
on both sides of the field,
Right.
right? I
I'm
did,
torn between the two.
right? Like, and you have friends on both sides, and like,
Yeah.
what'd you think of the level of play?
It's absurd. I was just shocked for like the first 5 minutes. It was 1-0, but I mean, every check, every step,
know.
every like turn, every shot, every pass was just like, pew, 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 like perfect.
I know.
And it's. I mean, this is.
I mean,
this is lacrosse. The guy said it, or the announcer said it. The whole stands erupted. He goes, "I love this sport."
I saw
doing it.
It's great.
Kevin Understein throw a button wrap check and pick the ball perfectly, like, and I was just like, I mean, like, that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah. I think we all come, to and want to watch USA. We all want to watch Canada, Iroquois, Israel. But there's other teams out there, right? And there's other stories, other things that are going on during the games. Hungary, they have 14 players.
Puerto Rico's got players.
Puerto Rico is really contending. You have, Luxembourg. They have a father-son combo, a 49-year-old and a
That's pretty cool.
16-year-old.
Yeah.
Father-son combo on the team, and there's so many different stories that come out from this. For you guys, so far, I know it's not over yet, but do you have a favorite memory or kind of something that stands out to you that you remember?
I mean, my favorite is going to go back to in Netanya Stadium when Ori Bar David, 18-year-old Israeli,
Oh yeah, we
goes
had him
out
right
on the
here
field.
last night.
Yeah.
And the crowd erupted. They were cheering his name, and to
Like-
me, I'm not going to speak for him. That might be the best day of his life, but that made this whole entire, year worth everything.
Well,
To
now
see,
little kids can see that.
And to
I can
build
to
on
see
that,
like,
Ori Bar David scored 2 goals last night.
he scored 2.
yeah,
2 goals.
Two goals.
And the fans were like,
They were wild. I
Like-
know he had 1. I didn't know he
yeah,
had
he had
2.
a second.
That
He had
was
a
crazy.
second late in the game,
Yeah.
and I mean, he's blatantly said the first game against Jamaica, best day of his life,
Yeah.
and then last night he
That's
basically
gotta
he's
compete.
like this is like another best day of my life.
Yeah.
It's like that's so cool.
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
it's like, being able to play is unbelievable, but it's more than just, continuing my career. It's representing all these kids that I coach, and to know that he's doing more than, he is one of those kids. I've coached, helped coach him, and now he's playing with us. It's like, it's so surreal that I'm able to experience this, and he's able to be the true Israeli lacrosse pioneer.
Yeah.
And I'm just
it's
a part of it.
It's a special thing. I mean, a lot of firsts. Uganda's first win in pool play.
So awesome to
yeah,
hear.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Those guys
Did you
are
guys
awesome.
see the video of Uganda, Jamaica singing "One Love," Bob Marley?
No,
You
I
gotta
did
see
not.
it.
Tingles,
awesome.
man.
Yeah?
Up and down every single time. It's like 5-second clip, but it's 10-second clip. It's wild.
Those Uganda guys, I mean, so we had a few of them come over last summer to participate in the IPLL. Those guys live for lacrosse. I think every single post, anything going on, like they're calling us, they're commenting, like just everything. It's like their life revolves just like our lives do, and
Yeah.
something a lot of people don't know.
Speaking of videos, and I need to watch that, but I've seen the New Zealand haka.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I was commentating over here on Field 2 in the morning at 10:30, and they started the haka during our
It's
our
pretty dope.
broadcast.
It's pretty dope.
Oh
you
yeah,
other
we
guys
turned
just
around
stare
and
at it?
watched it.
No, it's pretty dope.
So you got to just stare at it if you're the other team.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
You have
it's
to kind of
intimidating a
wear
little
it.
bit, like, even though you know that's what it is.
You've
like,
seen it, you know it's coming, but
No, but it's
you're
like
still,
I just love the tradition of like this is how we roll. This is how we
Rush
start the
coming down
game.
The stairs last night against you guys. They came down the stairs. They had one guy singing. I don't know if you guys heard that. And it
I
was
didn't
like,
notice
I think
it.
I was shooting at that point. I was,
Yeah, it's,
I was
but
focused.
It's
I
those
was hidden.
traditions, right? It's those types of things that make this week special.
Yeah.
At least for me, like
Yeah.
I've been refreshed by my experience here. So
No, and me not playing. Normally, as a player, mindset
you
is
wanna be
like,
out there.
yeah, I do, but like,
you want to throw that
but-
butt
but-
end.
but-
I see it, and it.
but my experience is different now, right? And I'm able to take in a lot of other things that I was never able
You're
to
a father
do.
now.
In 2014,
Yeah.
I had tunnel vision focus on I'm playing. I don't need to stay around and watch games. As a coach, I'm afforded the luxury is like I can come watch these games, right? I can come watch a game beforehand and experience and enjoy a little bit, as opposed to a player like
You're
you
not
can't sit in the
tunnel
sun
vision
for
focused,
6
yeah.
hours, right? So
Rolling out, doing whatever you have to do. You
Exactly.
Enjoying it a little bit more.
yeah,
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of the week, fellas. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
thanks.
Yeah,
Josh.
thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Toda rabah.
Coming up next, we got Chuck Jaffe, and if you don't know Chuck, the man has stories for days. Looking forward to it next.
Shalom, Chuck Jaffe. Good to have you.
Shalom, Josh. Great to be here.
So let's talk about Israel. Let's talk about Netanya. It's what number World Games for you?
If you count from when I was a kid and I went to travel as a fan, this would be my fourth.
Okay, and have you been to Israel though?
No, I've never been to
Okay.
Israel before. The only World Games I had done prior to this that was out of the country, out of the U.S., was Perth in 2002.
So you have a lot of experience regarding the World Games, and
I've seen a lot, and a lot of it being the things that are ancillary to the World Games. Like,
Right.
as much as we all love watching the USA play Canada and the Iroquois and what have you, a lot of the fun stuff that's happening here is happening at places that are not the main stages.
well, and one thing to point out, it wasn't supposed to be in Netanya, and it was very short notice that Netanya became the host city. So there's been things and that people have been complaining about and whatnot, but this has been a beautiful event, and you obviously have some great experiences from this so
Well,
far.
we as broadcasters, because I'm here broadcasting, so everybody knows, like ESPN put out the announcement of, we're doing these 14 games,
Right.
and then there's a little thing below it, and all 156 games are broadcast. Yeah, I'm doing
You're
like
one of those
25
guys.
of those
You're one of those guys.
So we're very busy trying to give everybody the right kind of treatment.
Yeah.
And yes, there are definitely glitches. And it's hard to imagine there wouldn't be. They put this together in less than half the time
Right.
that you'd put together a World Games. Probably a quarter of the time when you consider that it's not like, oh, wait, one game's to the next and you don't start. You're starting well in advance.
Well, and look at this. Like, look where we are. Like, look what we're doing.
Well,
This
and
is-
the alternative, and I am not knocking the state of Delaware. I have friends who live there. But it would have been Delaware. It would have been the U.S. basically bailing it out and putting it in Delaware at
I
a
never heard
facility
that, yeah.
at a facility that is great if you're going to do a big lacrosse tournament for club teams. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, my daughter played club lacrosse. I've been to a lot of club facilities.
Right.
They're fabulous places. This is different, and that's what's great about it.
And you mentioned a lot of people, liking to see USA and Canada and the Iroquois, but there's a lot of other great teams. I mean, I've been around, we've all been around to all these games, and just the personalities, the stories, the characters on these teams are pretty impressive, right?
Well, there are. And the other side is the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Right? I was yesterday watching, Finland was playing Colombia.
Okay.
And the Danish team came out to support the Colombians. And they immediately got there and started heckling the Finns.
They must have shared some beers or
It
something,
was-
and now they're
exactly.
boys.
Now they're boys, and they are heckling the Finns. And literally, not only did they do it, but then you watch after the game where even the losers are sort of celebrating the fact that they're here.
Absolutely.
But then they're coming off the field, and by the way, there to greet them were their families and the Danes to go good effort.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Today we had one. I was doing a game between Korea and Mexico, and there was a huge collision. And these guys are not speaking anything close to the same language, right? They're at least 2 languages apart, even the ones who,
well, even on the same team, there's different languages.
Exactly. So, the huge collision, ball winds up going out of bounds, and the guy from Korea gets up, taps the other guy on the shoulder, and and then they bump gloves, and the good hit, and we're going on. And you would expect it to be the opposite, because you think about, like, when you're playing a game, you're always out talking to the guys, and part of the fun for people is often well, now you can't communicate. You're standing at the end of the field, you can't communicate, and yet we're sharing this love of lacrosse. We play as hard as we can, and we respect each other afterwards. It's very cool.
It's been refreshing for me, and one of my favorite stories is, I didn't get to see it in person, but Stu, our guy, got a video of it, and it's a video of Team Jamaica and Team Uganda together singing One Love, Bob Marley. Just goosebumps all over my body.
Well, and if you want to see a team that is a lot of fun, I've done 2 games, and I will do a third in a little while for Team Argentina.
Okay.
Now you have to go get
They like to have fun, I know that.
Oh, you have to go get the video of them on the bus coming over as they are all singing, and I guarantee you Coach Stillman will give it up to you. But then watch, when they won their first game, the song and the whole team afterwards, and the spirit that was involved, just amazing.
I heard they shut down Tel Aviv that night.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. And, this is a team where they, and by the way, the Ugandans, encouraged us as broadcasters, no, be as familiar as you can. Call us by our nicknames, whatever.
Right.
Not that anybody's necessarily going to remember who Rocky is or Penguino is or what have you, but they're trying to make sure that they're doing what they can for everybody.
I think one of the more interesting things about the World Games and so many different nations coming together is the language barrier. And you mentioned it briefly, but not only between teams, but within teams, like coaches, the Ugandan coaches all speaking English, but no one on the Ugandan team being able to speak English at all.
Right.
So there's 2 minutes left in the game, and they're up 1, trying to get their first pool play win, and they have to keep it in the box, but they can't. The coaches are yelling and they're screaming, but they're coming out of the box. It's like that language barrier is there.
Well, and if you go back to how things are set up, and you think about the accomplishments here, it's not just a language barrier, right? Just to have your vendor village, where your vendor village requires every single person who's come here has brought their own currency.
What would you say? 12 currencies? You said?
No, it's like 24 currencies.
24 currencies.
Something like 24 currencies, because obviously a number of countries are on the euro.
So that's why we all have these bands, right?
Yeah, those bands allow them to basically say, hey, we can handle you, whether you're dealing with Chinese currency or dollars,
which again
or euros,
is impressive
or
to how much time there was to set up.
And the other side is that, as frustrated as some people have been with those little bands, that they haven't worked 100% of the time. The fact is they've worked most of the time, and if you think about it, it's like, wow, that's really impressive. Because otherwise, what would you have been doing? It would have been a lot of conversions.
I'm so sweaty, and I've been, taking showers day in and day out, and this thing has made it through at least 15 showers.
There you go, and you've always gotten credit for your money, so there you go.
You've been to a lot of games. We mentioned that, as a broadcaster, commentator, as a fan, a lot of different facets. This game so far, this championship so far, favorite moment?
For me personally, in terms of what I broadcast, it's probably either the Argentinians after their win with that song.
Okay.
But in that game, they beat Hungary. And Hungary is an amazing story. Hungary is here with 16 players. So their initial roster had 17. One player couldn't make it because of the financial commitment, so he had to drop out. He would have been their goalie. And another player joined the Merchant Marines.
Position to have.
Another player joined the Merchant Marines. So Jonathan Yen, who is their assistant coach, who, as he said, had both cleats halfway up the flagpole for retirement, comes out to play goalie.
Yep.
They are here with 16 players in this heat. And one of their players, Karsten Yaradi, is one of the youngest players ever to play in the adult level. And when he scored against Argentina...
There's a 14-year-old and a 49-year-old, I think.
A 14-year-old technically, yeah. The 15-year-old is now 16. You have to be 16 to play here.
16.
And Karsten is now 16. He plays for 3D New England, but his father owns a winery in Hungary, and he has all the citizenship and everything else. And he's playing against grown men.
Right.
And when you score at that level against grown men, you know, somebody might look at that game. If somebody goes and watches that game, and it's pretty fun, but it wasn't all that close, you might go, come on, really? Like, Argentina might lose to a good high school team, and they might. But that kid scored a goal in a world championship.
It's amazing.
You know,
I'm 28. I've been playing for 18 years, and I've never had that opportunity. I've never had that moment. He's always going to remember that.
Yeah, and he got to wear the colors of the country that he wanted to, of his choice. And, you know, that's absolutely one of those things that you can't take it away. And that, to me, is a lot of what's special here, is the idea that these guys, I mean, I did Korea and Mexico this morning, and I know that this is where, this point right now for people is where some of the teams that are bad start to have their fun, because they went through the qualifying round where you get your butt kicked, and now it's time for them to go off and have a good time. And Mexico lost this morning, and their players were pretty devastated.
Yeah.
They were. And at the same time, you know, to just get a chance to talk to the parents of Will Gormley, who's a New England, he goes to Hotchkiss School, plays for Mexico, completely bilingual, you know, gave up a lot of his summer club stuff, which is where you get recruited, right? To go down to Mexico training camp, and who is hoping someday that maybe he'll be spreading the game down there.
It shows how much it means to the players, right?
Exactly.
And you know, they're willing to give up those things to be here. And certainly there's going to be a lot more stories, a lot more things coming out of the championships here, and I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I mean, all I can tell you is it's not just because guys like me are working on those other games. Go find them. There's great stories in every one of those games.
I did Russia-Luxembourg this morning, and that was a pretty interesting one.
Father-son.
Yeah, father-son. Father-son, yeah. Really cool.
So always interesting. Josh, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. Toda.
But we want to be shut them off. It's just that simple. Shut them off. I'd rather a fast fucking break and us making them die all game than you guys got to get the clear. Let's go break.
Another incredible day here at Netanya at LaxAllStars studio. The action's gonna keep coming at you. I gotta go. We're done here. As you have been watching, we've been vlogging. I gotta get my vlog video out there at the end of the day. So that's it from us here at Wingate 1. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.